Hello everyone and welcome to another EV Geek Studio review. Sebastian, Joel, and today a car that we don't know a lot about, but we're excited to learn a lot about. 2025 Subaru Solterra. This is the Touring Edition. I believe the color is Onyx. I believe it's what it said. Sebastian's going to double check me.
Harbor Mist Gray.
Totally missed that totally. Harbor Mist Gray. So I saw the word Onyx on there somewhere. Sebastian, like I said, we're not familiar with the Solterra, so initial thoughts.
Yeah, so let's just back up.
Yeah.
I am familiar with the Solterra.
You are familiar with the Solterra.
But everything you see online about the Solterra makes it sound terrible.
Yes.
And I am convinced that this is not a terrible car.
Yes.
I'm convinced that there has to be something good about it. And that maybe you shouldn't always rely on everything you see on the internet.
Especially sometimes some of the things we may have said or read about the Solterra too. So we're putting ourselves out there to see some things about the Solterra, and we saw some things we liked just on the short 5-minute ride over that we liked about it. So yes.
Yeah. So I'm excited to really check this thing out and really see kind of, knowing what other people have said, see if I agree with it, see if it's as big of a deal to me, etc. Like I mentioned, this is the Harbor Gray Mist Pearl. I'll probably still mess that name up of color, so it's okay. At least it didn't say
we
Onyx.
got it wrong, but it's a cool looking color.
But it's a good color. This has, so EPA rating on this is 222 miles of range from a 72 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is fine.
Yep.
And I think that's one point too, is, I think this is meant to be more of a commute car, right? Commute car.
From what I hear from the people who have, and all the people out there in the Subaru Solterra groups have been awesome. Great commuter, city car, also really good off-roading. If you're doing some minor off-roading with it, a lot of people said it works great because it sits a little higher up, does some good stuff off-road.
Okay. Yep. So I was like, I think, perspective is everything. Is like, on paper, 222 miles of range doesn't sound awesome.
Yeah.
But if it's not a car you plan on taking on road trips, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
If you're just driving it to work and back.
Yep.
Whatever.
Should be fine. Yep.
So yeah. So I'm excited to check it out and see what it's all about.
All right. So we'll do a quick walk around, infotainment and interior, driving, and then we'll wrap it up back at Subaru with our final thoughts. Stay tuned. So before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to the team over at Subaru of Little Rock, Landon and the crew over there. Thanks for letting us spend some time with the Subaru Solterra Touring. Sebastian, let's do a quick tour of the outside.
Yeah, so just first off, the Subaru Solterra is a partnership car between Subaru and Toyota. And the Toyota one is called the Toyota lowercase b capital Z number 4 capital X.
Yes. So take everything that we talk about this car, applies to the BZ4X.
Also, I like to refer to it as the busy forks, but that's anyway. But yeah, so this is the Solterra. I think the Solterra looks better than the BZ4X.
Me too. It's
not anything, it's not trying to do anything amazing or cool or striking, but it looks like a normal crossover SUV, which is not a bad thing.
Nope.
It will be a familiar vehicle, looking vehicle to someone who's cross-shopping with.
And I'm thinking moving from a gas to an EV.
Right, if you're going to a Subaru dealership to look at a Crosstrek or Forester, and this is next to it, it looks like those cars.
Yep.
Which is not a bad thing.
Yep.
Coming around, you do have this black plastic cladding all over, so you'll see, you've got it on the front wheel, you got it on the rear wheel, you got it all the way down the side. That's part of the looks, kind of that off-roady sportiness
I kind of like how it breaks up the color a little bit.
Yeah, you've got your charge port door, front, driver's side, manual door, love to see it, easy to open, like that.
Yep. And
you have a J1772 port, and they're using these actually pretty decent little flaps. But one thing that I could see improved would be have this where if you pull that, it automatically does the AC as well, but that's fine, not a big deal. But yeah, I like to see it very easy, simple. So that's one thing. This car, I believe, has a claimed peak DC fast charge rate of 150 kilowatt, which isn't that far off from a lot of
Chevy Blazer, Chevy Equinox.
Like Chevy Blazer, Chevy Equinox, stuff like that. One of the things people have always complained about, though, is apparently the curve has not been very good. However, Subaru and Toyota both claim that over the model years that this has been out, they have been steadily improving it. Now, this one, we won't have enough time with it to do any charge tests on. Maybe we could find a way to borrow one again and actually go and take it to an EA station, plug it into a 300 kilowatt station, whatever, at a low state of charge, and just see what it does and see if we can repeat it. But that is the claim, at least, is 150 kilowatt DC peak fast charge rate.
And what are the size tires on this?
This is, see here, these are 20-inch wheels on this trim level. They are 235/50 R20s.
Alrighty.
Nice. They look pretty decent.
They look nice.
I wish-wash back and forth on whether or not I like black wheels on cars.
I like black wheels on cars.
But I think those look pretty
in my
decent.
opinion, he's the only one that matters. So
Okay.
that's it.
Coming around back, no rear wiper. It's doing the whole Kia EV6 Ioniq 5 thing. And you can see you have these interesting...
By the way, I switched spots on you.
Okay, you're fine. You can see you've got these interesting spoilers.
Yep. Aerodynamics.
It's for aerodynamics, of course. But yeah, I just think it's a little interesting how... And that's why they don't put a rear wiper here, is they claim that all this is swooped enough that the air will just pull the rain off of it.
Don't mind the dirt. It's spring in Arkansas, so...
Oh, yeah. It's impossible to keep a car clean. Again, Solterra Touring EV. Open it up. This is power liftgate, of course. And in the trunk, it's the size trunk you would expect from any other mid-size crossover.
Yep.
You know, if you were looking at a RAV4, it's going to be about the same. If you're looking at a Forester, it's about the same.
CRV, yep, all those.
You got some underfloor storage as well, where you have your, it feels like an EVSE, license plate bracket, all that standard stuff. This does have the Harman Kardon audio system. You got your subwoofer right there.
A little thing here for netting too as well.
Yep, and you've got a grocery bag hook inside it as well.
Yep.
And you have a...
I like that. I wish I was...
Got a
I wish
cargo
I had
cover.
it on my Model Y. I like the cover.
We'll pop that close.
Yep.
And again, this being a Subaru, you also get Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive.
Yes.
Which the all-wheel drive is part of what attributes to that somewhat low EPA range rating. Around the passenger side, not a whole lot to look at. Let's take a peek at the back seat real quick.
Gotcha.
Well, before you even do that, you'll see you do have proximity door access on all 4 doors.
Good.
Which is nice. We see so many cars,
Especially if you have kids.
we see so many cars low-key cheap out on that because they'll do it on the front and then not on the back. Just put your hand in to unlock. Super easy. Coming in here, you can take a first peek of that interior real quick.
So heated back seats.
Something you don't get in the BMW iX.
Yes, you do not get that in a BMW iX.
Or at least not in the one we drove.
Nope.
And you have climate vents and USB-Cs.
Yep.
Nice. Like to see it.
Gorgeous roof too as well. We'll take a look at that in a little bit.
For sure. All right, now, I'm 6 foot tall. Do I fit?
I say yeah.
I don't see why not.
Nope. It's crossover.
Oh yeah, that's not bad at all. And I mean, this seat is,
You can tell it's
way
lean.
far
And
back,
you have
but
plenty of
this is
headroom.
still fine.
Yep.
Plenty of headroom. I'm not actually above the glass either. So I'm not like just gonna have the sun beating me the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah, this is fine. I got plenty of feet room. I wish this seat was a little further forward, but that's not the car's fault. Let me hop out.
That's the passenger's fault, which was Sebastian.
It was me, I didn't move it. Let's come around front. Joel, do you think it has a front trunk?
I would guess no.
I am probably gonna agree with you, but we're gonna look anyway.
Yep. Let's check it out. The revealing is, drum roll please. Nope.
Hey, no front trunk.
Nope.
All that mechanical gear. Which I mean, it didn't look like there was a lot of room for a front trunk.
Yep.
So just pop that close.
It's not like Kia where they try to put one in that serves no purpose.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, just one final look at the front of the car.
So
there.
I really like the front. It gives me Mustang Mach-E vibes.
It looks like a Subaru.
Yep.
It fits the design language very well. You got your big fog lights, you got your C-shaped headlights. It works.
Yep. All right, we're gonna head on inside. Sebastian's gonna give us a quick review of the infotainment. We'll look at the interior and then do a test drive. See you in a bit. All right, we are back. Sebastian, let's take a quick tour of the infotainment and some of the interior features.
Yeah, so just kind of first off, it is an interestingly designed cockpit.
Yes, we've never been in an EV like this before, designed like this.
So just for starters, steering wheel is this kind of square circle shape. Your gauge cluster is up high, like right, basically where a heads-up display would usually be. And because of that, this is a little odd. Just gonna immediately kind of start talking about it. That's as high as the steering wheel can go. And it's because otherwise it's gonna block the screen.
Yeah.
Now you do still get a decent amount of
Telescoping.
telescope, which, there you go, that's fine. That's good for me. But, so yeah, that's just when you get in and
The
you
purpose
look.
is to look above it,
Right.
not through it.
Right.
Like on the EV6, you look through it.
Yeah, so it's an interesting design for sure. Coming in here, there is a lot of piano black,
Yes.
which is hard to keep clean. I would like to see maybe a different material, but that's just a personal preference thing, of course. You've got a really decent sized infotainment screen we'll talk about in a second. You got good climate controls. You got physical controls for what matters most, temperature and fan speed. And then you also have in this heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated seats.
Yes.
And the ventilated seats work.
Yep.
Looking down here, You have buttons for, so you've got your parking brake. This is, I believe, your one pedal drive.
It's on now.
Auto hold. You've got your shifter, which is a little bit interesting to operate. We'll talk about in a second. Drive mode selector, camera view, park assist, X mode.
We're going off-road, baby.
Set plus and minus, which I'm assuming has something to do with X mode, and then your traction control. You have this interesting little compartment, which I'll take this real quick. If you open it up, you can see it's actually your wireless phone charger. And it has a USB port inside of it as well. And it's interesting because you can see, there you go.
Tells me it's charging up there.
When you close it, it's actually, I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually transparent.
Oh, cool.
Like it's got a little bit of a frosted to it. You got your cup holders here, down low. You have this armrest, which does slide forward if you need it to, although that does cover your cup holders. And then pop that open, and you got a good sized little center console. It's not super deep. Oh wait, it might be deeper.
Oh,
hey, there's all your owner's manual and stuff, which is important to note because
why, Sebastian?
this car does not have a glove box.
No glove box.
Why
do we suspect that? We don't know for a fact, but why do we suspect that?
It does have, I'm pretty confident, the Subaru Solterra and BZ4X actually have radiant heaters in the knee area, which would be why it wouldn't have a glove box, because it needs somewhere to put a radiant heater, which is actually really nice because it means you can drive around, heated seat on, have heat emanating from the dash,
Using less heat from your...
and you're using less actual climate control, which should help with range stuff. Looking around, you also have a decent sized glass roof, as Joel mentioned. I'll pop that open real quick so you can see it. Opens decently quick.
It's a 50-50 split too, or 60-40 split,
Yep, opens pretty decently. Now, the roof itself doesn't actually open, but the shade, does. And it's pretty quick. We'll close that back just to help keep it a little cooler in here.
Keep the glare out. Another thing that we say all EVs should have, or what?
It has a digital rear view mirror. And it's a adjustable one, so you can come in here and you can change the brightness of it. You can change the up and down tilt.
We were just in two $120,000 cars, and they did not have this feature.
Yeah, you can change left and right. You can even tilt the actual mirror image, which is an interesting thing to do. You can change the zoom. You can do auto brightness. You can set up your garage doors, and you can change language.
As we say, every car should have that.
It's a great feature to have, and if you decide you don't want it, you just flip it over and boom, it's a regular mirror now. All right, now let's talk about the infotainment system. So this vehicle does have navigation, but you can't use it unless you have a subscription. Which is a little bit of a bummer. Because, like, for example, if I try to search to go somewhere and I want to start typing, subscription is retired. Boom. Which is what it is.
We're starting to see a lot of that with cars that we review. A lot of features are not available unless it's assigned to the driver or you have a subscription. Come
over here to your media menu. This is all fairly standard stuff. You have FM, AM, Sirius XM, and again, if you have a subscription and you're signed in, you could also use Apple Music and Amazon Music.
There you go.
Which is nice to see. No Spotify, interestingly. You can come in here, you got your phone menu, all that's normal. You have your vehicle menu. So this is a fairly basic view, but you have your trip info, which will show you average speed, how far of a trip range, or how far you have left on your battery, how long you've been driving. Let's see what your average efficiency is, just, typical stuff like that. And here's a little on a graph. You have your charging schedule, so you can set up each day if you want to charge at certain times.
I like that, because for someone like me, I want to charge at certain times during the week and then different times on weekends.
And then you can have your vehicle alerts. So let's see, is there any action going to pull up there?
Probably not, because we're not signed in.
All right, never mind then. If you come in here to settings, you have a decent number of options here. So let's see here. General is not what I wanted. I'm actually going to come down here just to vehicle. So first off, you got your light settings. Too far. Let's see, we're going to go to charging. Here you can set up charging current, so you can limit your charge current. Now, I do wish you had more options in this than just 16 amp and 8 amp, but I digress. You can also change here your battery state of charge limit down to 50%.
That's what we see in most cars.
And you can change your DC charge power. So if you don't want the car to ever charge more than 100 kilowatt, you set 100 kilowatt. Interesting feature.
And I can see that could be available to where if I know I'm going to supercharge, but I'm going to go get something to eat, and I don't need it to charge that quick.
Yeah, I imagine Toyota is doing this more as, or not Toyota, I'm so sorry, Subaru is doing this more as a battery longevity thing.
Kind of thing, yes.
But Again, I don't see 100 kilowatt or 150 kilowatt being that stressful on this type of vehicle. That's a whole different conversation. I don't remember utility. It was adaptive cruise, climate, charging, boarding and exit, seat slide. Okay, where was I saw one thing in here earlier that I thought was funny.
Does it do over-the-air updates? I guess it...
Maybe?
Maybe?
Where was it?
What are you looking for?
Is it under display? No.
Sebastian
I'm going to find it.
Sebastian is stumped.
I'm not going to find it.
Where was it?
You could change the color of the car.
Oh, that's right. Where was it?
And I just thought that was so funny because you
Vehicle
never...
customize.
That's where I just was. Okay, well, I lost it. Anyway, there was a screen in here where you could change the color of the car, which I thought was really funny because that's something you never see.
General?
That's where I just was, I thought. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Yep.
It's not that important.
We were able to change the color of the car in here, kind of like what you do in a Tesla, yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, not a whole lot going on in this infotainment system, especially because of that right there. That said, it does, I believe, support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you can just use that and use your navigation that way.
Gotcha. Now, we do have some more options over there on the
We do have some options over there.
Heads up button, the
I will
display.
do my best to show them off.
Yep, you may have to zoom in because we're getting a little weird low angle.
So here's your driver's gauge cluster, and this is kind of the key up setting. So if you look down here at the steering wheel, you have all these buttons on this side, which these are the buttons you use to control the driver's gauge cluster. Real quick, on the passenger side of the steering wheel, you do have your cruise controls, lane keeps, distances, and all that jazz. So let's come back up here. So you see right now we have just the speedometer real big, range on the right there, and then kind of all of our driver's assistance icons, and it's telling us 31% state of charge. We can tap that right there, and now you see we've unlocked another panel on the left that's right now showing us the compass and the car. I can also go into adaptive cruise, and it will be like my driver's assistance functions. You can come up here and see your trip efficiency. So right now it says 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. You can see your media. Here's your actual trip computers. You can also cycle through to tire pressure. It'll show your all-wheel drive usage. A bunch of settings we'll get there. And then if there were any warnings that the car wanted you to know about, they'd be on that bottom screen. So under here, you have tons of settings. It just keeps going. You got lane departure alert. You can press and hold that. Do you want it on? How do you want it to tell you? Do you want it to beep? Do you want it to vibrate the steering wheel?
So those options. Okay, cool.
How soon do you want it to warn you? You can come in here to BSM, blind spot monitor, press and hold. What timing? What brightness? Do you want it to buzz at you? You've got pre-collision, timing. Let's see here. PDA. Not 100% sure what PDA stands for. I'm so sorry. Parking distance, maybe? And you have your sensitivity.
Parking distance assist, yeah.
DAOAA. That is one thing on this car. I feel like you need a glossary.
They use a
lot of acronyms. Parking assist. Park assist volume, that makes sense. Then you go to the next page. RCTA, so that's rear cross traffic alert.
Yeah, look at you.
RCD, rear collision detection?
Maybe, yep.
I don't know what PKSB means, I'm so sorry. Parking support brake off.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, okay, now go away. There we go. Safe exit assist, so that'll help you, it'll warn you if you're about to open a door and there's a car coming. Yep. RSA, road sign assist.
There you go.
Vehicle settings and meter settings, and you can pop into vehicle settings, and you have your charge settings here, and it's the same menu essentially as we saw on the other screen, but in a smaller layout. You can set your charge currents the same type of way. You can set your charge limit the same type of way. You can set DC charge power, and you can this is where you can turn on battery cooler for while you're charging. So yeah, brake suggesting, traffic jam assist, DMC recording, LCA, just okay.
Yep.
Dynamic radar cruise control. I did figure out what that one means.
That was on the sticker.
Acceleration setting, guide message. You want to reduce speed around curves. Nice. Forward cross traffic alert. Tire pressure warning. It does have a driver monitor camera. Right, y'all? Mm-hmm. PBD stoplight display. So there's on the driver's assistance view, it will actually show you pressing the brake lights on the screen. Yeah. And so I guess some people might find that distracting.
Brake display. I mean, that's what PD is. Parking brake something.
I think it has something to do with a trunk.
Okay.
rear seat reminder, and then scheduled maintenance. So yeah, there's a ton of menus in here, and you can go into meter settings even, and you have a menu for language, units, leaf, which is current power consumption. You can do total average or trip average. Then you have music. What? On or off? Okay.
There you go.
Vehicle info icon. Display contents. All-wheel drive on. Goodness gracious, it just keeps going. Drive info type. Drive info items. What? Distance and total time.
All these new things we're finding. Average speed, total distance.
Okay. Wow, it just keeps going.
So we're wondering why we couldn't find these on the main display, and now we know why.
Closing display, drive info, charging schedule, pop-up display, turn-by-turn notification, telephone, audio, volume, voice, brightness. Okay.
So everything pops up on there if you got a phone
Calendar?
call. If you got a phone call, it'll pop up on there.
Default settings, and then it just cycles through. But yeah, tons of options, dadgum.
Yeah.
And then you can go back to a more simple menu if you want. So I'm going to click it over somehow. I'd have to go all the way back over. No. It's up and down. I'm going to put it back on this right here because I'm curious what pops up while you're driving. Otherwise, let's look around here. On the left, you have your buttons for auto, high beam, trunk release, 4 window switches. Let's see, are they auto?
They are. They're fast, too.
Driver windows auto is the passenger window auto. Nice. We've been in some expensive cars recently that didn't do that.
Yep.
You got auto fold mirrors. Oh, you just turn it on or off. Okay. Yep. You do have driver memory as well. Here's your mirror controls. All that's fairly standard. I don't really have anything else to talk about, do you?
Nope. So we're going to set our cameras up and get ready to head out on the road to give our driving review. See you in a bit. All right, before we head out, we want to show cameras real quick.
So yeah, so you can hit this button.
Uh-huh.
And you get a camera view so you can see it kind of flies around the car. You could also hit that one, and now it's a more top-down view. Mm-hmm. And then I believe when you put it in like reverse,
there we go.
There you go. You get your typical top-down. It also dings at you while you're in reverse. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. You can turn your guidelines on or off. Let's see here. You can go wide view, narrow view. This one is not like the other ones that, okay. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so yeah, you get a top-down view and all that, which is nice. All right, so let's put it back in park. And now we will end this clip here, and then we'll go for a drive.
All right, cameras are set up as you see. We are now on the road. Sebastian's first time behind the wheel. What do you think of that steering wheel?
It's an interesting shape.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see. All right, so the one pedal is not actual one pedal. It is, I bet that's just regen, isn't it?
May just be.
Yep, that is just to turn on regen, and it will regen down to about 3 or 4 miles an hour.
Okay.
And then it just kind of rolls.
Okay.
Okay, so not actual one pedal driving. Yeah, because see, I'm not doing anything right now.
So it stops at 3, gotcha.
Gotcha. Okay, well, now we know. Coming out here. Let's see here, just kind of immediate thought is, honestly,
it's not bad.
It's not bad. It just drives like a normal SUV.
I really like this material on the dash. It kind of feels like carpet almost.
Now, I have a question.
What?
Do we know what the plus and minus paddles behind the steering wheel do?
No, we're going to find those out.
Let's see here. I'm going to pull the...
Like I said, we're learning along with y'all today about this vehicle.
Oh, does it turn on? Hold on. It changes the level of...
Regen?
Yep.
So it's very similar to the Kia.
Okay. And minus increases regen and plus decreases regen. That said, and it automatically pulls up the cameras if it thinks you're getting close to stuff.
Oh, cool.
Look at that. Isn't that nifty?
Just the little things. Just like that, the little things.
Now, let's see here.
Got some
okay, it's got enough power.
Got a little spunkiness to it.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, it's an all-wheel drive electric vehicle. I would expect it to have a little bit of spunk, and it does.
Bit of zip.
I'm excited to get out on the highway and see kind of the Subaru. Do they still use the EyeSight brand? Do you know?
Oh wow. I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Well,
I don't know.
Wow, this minivan sounds like it is a
Sounds like it's a...
Sounds like something. Anyway.
Yep. Sounds like you could use a muffler.
But yeah, see, it just... I wish it's so close.
Mm-hmm.
If it just would let you stop like that.
Yep.
Instead of doing what it's doing now.
Yep.
This might get a little annoying.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a way to turn it off. But I don't know how right now. So having it automatically do that every single time you come to a light would be
Yep.
maybe a little frustrating.
Yep. So let us know in the comments if you know how to turn that feature off.
I'm sure you can.
Yep.
I'm going to close back out of it. That said, really like having the rearview mirror, although it's not pointed where I can see. There we go. Digital rear views are amazing. And yeah, I mean, just immediate kind of on the city roads.
Yep.
This doesn't ride any different than, say, a Forester.
Nope.
Or a RAV4 or a CRV.
Nope.
It's very normal. It rides
like a normal car.
like a normal car. The suspension reminds me of like the Honda Prologue.
Yep.
You know, which is fine. These cars know what they're trying to be, right?
Yep.
And yeah,
they're appealing to a certain demographic of someone who does a lot of around town driving and who maybe wants to make the transition from a gas powered vehicle to an EV, but doesn't need the top of the line crazy spec features, doesn't need, you know, full self-drive, doesn't need any of that. They just want a car that's an EV that drives like a regular car.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, and for that, this will fit the bill great. And that's kind of, so we can go ahead and talk about it some before we get out on the highway. So people are quick to bash on this car because the DC fast charging is slow and the range number is low.
Yep.
That only matters if you, for the market that Subaru is looking at, they're looking at people that are looking at replacing, you know, their Forester, right?
Yep.
Most of these people live in a 2-car household. So they might look at this and say, oh, well, I'll buy this for commuting and then drive the family, whatever the family...
Subaru Accent on long trips.
Drive the Ascent or the Outback on road trips. You know, Subaru knows that.
Yep.
Subaru knows their clientele.
Yep.
And I mean, the range is serviceable for daily use.
Yep.
Perfectly fine. And you don't DC fast charge.
Yep.
You charge at home. Or at least you should be. And so, yeah, it's like, I understand why people are quick to harp on it, but I don't think it's as big a deal as some people make it. You know, that's the same thing people try to say, oh, you can't buy a standard range Ford Lightning.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you can.
Yeah.
Especially those charge pretty well. So, like, whatever. Anyway, this isn't a Ford Lightning video. Out here on the highway, the noise is exactly what you would expect from a midsize crossover. It's not super quiet in here. It's not super loud. It is perfectly adequate. Let's see if I can figure out how to turn on Adaptive Cruise Active. It says it's set to 70. Pay attention to other vehicles. Okie dokie. And now we are cruising. I'm going to give it a turn signal. Disengages lane center. Then get over. Ooh, it automatically slowed down for the corner.
Oh, it did?
Yep, and it's communicating that on the screen. You can see it shows a little curvy line. You can see it cranked us down just a bit, and now we are straightening back out.
There you go. Pretty cool.
I'm curious to know how aggressive the lane centering is. Not at all. Good to know.
Actually, I almost dropped the camera there.
Oh wait, hold on. That might have been my fault. I just hit another button, and
now I see the green lines.
Yeah. Okay, that might have been my fault.
So it was driver error, and now we're lane centering.
And now we are lane centering. Perfect. See, so you see, I don't know if you can show that on camera. There's an icon next to the cruise control icon that I thought meant lane centering was on.
We saw that in the Porsche too.
Yep.
Yeah.
But apparently that icon does not equal lane centering. I guess that's just lane departure.
Yes.
And so it's actually it's a capacitive wheel.
Oh, cool. We like capacitive over
I do like capacitive wheels because you can just kind of lightly rest your hand on it. You're not having to constantly kind of jiggle it.
Yep.
The driver's assistance animations on the gauge screen are really not terrible. It's doing a good job, like showing me car in front of me, but even like as cars were going around us, it was showing the cars around us too.
Now, how is it driving with the gauge cluster so far ahead?
I'm already used to it.
Okay, got it.
Not a big deal.
Okay.
It's like having a heads-up display.
Okay.
You know, it's like using your heads-up as a primary source of information.
I can see that, yep.
And I mean, you drive a Tesla. You don't even have one of these.
Nope.
So
I don't even have heads-up display. I don't know what that's like.
But yeah, so it's doing a pretty, like, lane centering is doing solid.
Yes.
This isn't bad at all. And like I said, noise is exactly what you'd expect from a midsize crossover.
Yep.
Let's see here. Let me slow down a little bit and pop over. I want it to have more regen.
Yep.
But that is what it is.
Well, all the cars we drove today
Did not have one pedal
did
driving.
not have one pedal driving.
That's funny.
Yep.
I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
I'm gonna hop off here. I don't know why it beeped.
Little warning.
Oh, there's a motorcycle. It was telling me there was a motorcycle right there. Look at that. And now we are slowing down. We're gonna loop back around. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't drive bad at all.
No. I mean, on a long trip, the seats are comfortable. They're automatic. So, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, and cooled seats work. They feel nice. They're not the most powerful cooled seats I've ever sat in, but they're fine. And yeah, this, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like now there's not even a car in front of us.
Yep.
It just...
Maybe it's showing that this person over here is trying to cross why it's popped up.
Maybe.
Because it's showing that arrow there. Like
or is it just saying there's cross traffic, I guess? Yeah.
Yep. Maybe.
I don't know. It's an interesting feature.
Yeah, we'll do some research on it and maybe put it in the notes and while we figure that. Or if you know, as we said, please let us know in the comments. All right, Sebastian, we're going to head on back to Subaru of Little Rock and do our final thoughts. All right, we are back here at Subaru of Little Rock. Once again, thank you to Landon and his team for letting us spend a little bit of time with the Subaru Solterra Touring. Final thoughts.
Yeah, so this has a lot of actually like decent features.
Yes.
You know, having the digital rearview mirror, having the nice glass roof, having, you know, a wireless phone charger, that's whatever. I mean, it at least works, it'll hold it. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. Having a fairly decent little gauge cluster heads-up display combo unit, like heated seats, cooled seats, heated rear seats. Like, this is a nice package as far as like interior quality goes, right? And like, other than the piano black, which gets fingerprints immediately, nothing feels cheap.
Nope.
The cheapest piece of plastic I can feel is right here. And it's this tiny little sliver right around the cup holders, which is what's going to get messy and dirty all the time. So I guess that makes sense.
Yep. Things are going to, hot coffee's going to get spilled on and things like that. Yep.
But out on the highway, you know, it drove exactly like you would expect a midsize SUV to drive. It felt like a familiar vehicle.
Yep.
It drove like a Honda Prologue. It drove like a, you know, it drives like it drives normal. It drives like a gas Subaru that just happens to be electric. Yep. And that's what they're going for. You know, and the same thing Toyota was going for with BZ4X is it drives like an electric RAV4.
Yep.
You know, that's exactly what they want it to do. And so they did that super well. I do wish it had one pedal driving. I just think it's funny, like you mentioned, this is the third EV we've driven today without one pedal driving. It does at least have pretty good, like it has decently strong regen. It just only does it to 3 miles an hour and then it just stops. It's a little different than the ones we drove earlier where they just didn't do anything until you hit the brake pedal. But yeah, I actually did end up really liking it. There is the elephant in the room though. So 222 miles of range, which is not a lot.
Yep.
Fairly slow DC fast charging. And this one is stickered at, what did it say?
47, 46.
47?
Yep.
47,000 is a lot of money.
Does it qualify for tax credit?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That said, they are getting cheaper.
Yes.
And they have announced that, like, for, I think, 2025 model year, they're a couple $1,000s less.
And this is the touring model too.
And this is the higher end model as well, right? And so they are getting cheaper. I think they're gonna start at right under 40 grand.
See, that's more digestible.
And that's a more digestible price.
Yes.
And like I said, if this is your commuter car, this is a perfectly good commuter.
Yeah, this would be great for my wife who drives like, you know, 15, 20 miles a day. Be perfect for her. I mean, like I said, it would make the perfect second car. Like if you were Subaru junkie, like we said, you'd have the Subaru, you know, Ascent as your first car, the SUV. You'd have this as your second car.
Yeah.
Or you'd have a Forester as your first car, and you'd have this as your second car just to go around town.
Or a cross-track hybrid in this,
yes.
or
And that's what we try to tell people who says, I can't do EVs. I'm like, well, are you a two vehicle household? I'm like, yes. I'm like, one of those could easily be an EV. Yes, you may need that SUV or that van or something or that truck to do what you normally do, but that second vehicle could easily be an EV. And the Subaru Solterra will be perfect as that second vehicle.
Yeah, and I mean, and even then, if you can go 200 miles on the highway, you're pretty much in most places in the country able to do that and still do a road trip in this.
Yep.
Like your 200 miles is usually enough distance to get you from charger to charger fairly easily if you needed to. Now, more range is always better.
More range is always better. People love their range here. They're American cars, American EVs. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I was, you know,
pleasantly surprised.
This is better than a Nissan Leaf,
Better than Nissan Leaf.
which is another car that we would say is a great commuter. This is better than a Leaf.
Yep.
This is better than some crossovers we've driven. It does, you know, like the infotainment system, snappy and quick to respond. But the no navigation thing's a little annoying, but if you can just CarPlay your phone, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Because you'll just use Apple Maps that way.
Yep.
And yeah, ultimately, I actually really did quite enjoy this.
Yep. All right. Thanks, y'all, for joining us for another EV Geek Studios review, and we'll see you again on another one here shortly. See you, everyone.